So welcome to the first installment of Cooking Fearlessly with Jess, by any stretch of the imagination. I am not a baker. The way I cook is I get a recipe that looks good, I barely look at it, and then I go in and do my own thing. Then barely glance at the recipe throughout the entire ordeal. You really can't do that with baking, so we're going to start off with something super simple, and we're just going to do some brownies. That being said, I have this recipe here, and it's called Simply Perfect Brownies from Scratch, and I just got it off Google. It has nothing to do with Butterfinger. So I went and got some Butterfinger bites, and I'm just going to crush them up and put them in the brownies. We'll see if it works. So, first things first, we need preheat the oven to 325. Well, I preheated it to 350, so we have time for it to cool down. Fahrenheit must be in an 8 by 8 inch pan. So I think that means they're wanting something square. I don't think I have a square. This is a 2-quart, 2-liter. It doesn't say anything else. This is the only square pan that I have, baking pan that I have, so it's gotta be this. So I just washed it. I'm gonna put it in the oven to dry. Line with parchment paper. There's a big long link, which looking at a piece of paper is not going to be good. Okay, so place sugar, butter, cocoa, and salt in a large microwave safe bowl. I read a little bit. For 1 minute increments, stirring until the butter is completely melted and the mixture feels very warm to the touch. Okay, I did it because I had, I was like, oh, I should read this recipe before I make make my video. And so I did, I glanced down at it. I won't say that I read it. But, and I saw that the microwave part, I don't like cooking in the microwave. I understand it's super convenient, and my grandma loves cooking in the microwave. In fact, she has mixing bowls specifically that she uses for her microwave cooking. And I couldn't find anything else, so I decided to stick with this, and I guess we'll go ahead and use the microwave, even though I'd much prefer cooking on the stove or something like that. But it's the first episode of Cooking Fearlessly with Jess. We're going to try not for it to be a failure. So we're going to go ahead and use the microwave. So, anyway, we're going to place sugar. So we need 2.5 cups of granulated sugar. That was another problem, because while I was looking, I found one and it was perfect. The picture looked exactly the kind of brownie that I wanted. And so I clicked on it. Well, then it wanted me to do powdered sugar. It wanted confectioner's sugar, whatever, which is just, I think it's just powdered sugar, just like fine, more finely ground up or whatever, or like sifted. I don't even have powdered sugar. I'm not a baker. I don't usually do anything sweet like this, so I don't have that. So let's see, 2.5 cups. That's all my sugar. Of sugar. 1 1/4 of unsweetened, or 1 1/4 cups, or 2.5 sticks of unsalted butter. Usually I do have sticks of butter. I do have sticks of butter now. I don't have 2.5 cups that's unfrozen right now, so we can't do that. So we're gonna have to measure it out of good old country crock. And It's vegetable spread. It's probably not what you're supposed to use. But that's not, we're not here to follow the recipe exactly. It's cooking fearlessly. Sugar, butter, okay. 1 cup. We've already messed up. It was supposed to be 1 1/4 cup. We've got 2 cups of butter in here. So, it's stuck forever. So 1 1/4 cups. And I'm not wasting 3/4 of a cup of butter. So I'm going to get a Tupperware and put this in there. I don't want to put it back in the tub because it's got the sugar on it. Oh crap, I forgot about the... Whatever. Of unsweetened cocoa powder. 1 3/4. Okay. 1 3/4 cups of unsweetened. God dang. 1 3/4. Alright, whatever. Well. Half of this video is going to be me trying to find something to put other things on so I don't make a mess. Okay. Which is half of me cooking, so. We had gone to the store yesterday, my mom and I, and to get clippers to cut my stepson's hair. And while I was there, I was like, okay, I gotta get a stylus for my 3DS because somehow I've lost that. I need to get some cocoa powder. And because I did glance out at the ingredients and notice that the other day about that. Well, I was so focused on getting my stylus for my 3DS, I didn't even think about the cocoa powder. So then I'm at my mom's house last night, 3 3/4. I think, yeah, if I fill it up to that little one there, it's 3/4. We don't have cable at my house. We don't have like satellite or anything. We just have like Netflix and all that jazz. Well, one of my favorite bands that I just actually went and saw in concert was gonna be on a talk show talk show. And I was really wanting to see them and support them. And so I just stayed over at their house. Well, I was sitting on the couch and it was probably I want to say it was after my stepson had gone to bed. So it was after 8 o'clock. And the show came on at like I think 10. I was just sitting there, I was like, I don't have any, I was going to make brownies and I don't have any cocoa powder. My mom was like, oh, well, hang on. And so she gets up and I think, like, subconsciously, it was like a thing where I was like, oh, shucks, I don't have any cocoa powder. I guess I can't make brownies because literally nobody else, me, have been putting this off for a week at least. And so she comes out and she's like, oh, here you go, I've got some. And she hands me this whole thing, brand new. I was like, oh, well, now I have to make it. So, cocoa powder and salt in a large microwave safe bowl. Salt, I knew I put it over here. Salt. ½ a teaspoon. here's the thing. If I wasn't recording this, I would totally have just dumped it in my hand, about half a teaspoon, and dumped it in there. But I'm recording, so maybe it'll come out better. Salt. So I'm going to put this in the microwave, and it says in 1 minute increments. Doesn't say covered, which concerns me, but whatever. While that's happening, so it was a completely unopened bag, and then I just keep, well, I don't need to get it in a different bag, that's fine. I keep opening it up and just taking one out. My sister was here yesterday. I was just like, you want one? And she was like, no. I'm like, okay, which is probably good. And I did open the bag so that, like, the air, while I'm doing all this, the air's not gonna, like, pop the bag. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's pretty crushed up. I'm gonna pour that in the mixture too, so it gets melty too. This is the first round. So it's 1 minute increments until, man, first of all, this does not need to go in there another minute. If I put it in there again, it's going to be for like half a minute. Because the butter is already melted in it. It was pretty much melted before I started stirring. Now it sure is melted. It's not super warm to the touch. I would not put it in there for another minute. I don't want to overstir it. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there for 30 seconds. Stirring until the butter is completely melted and the mixture feels warm. Add eggs one at a time after stirring after each addition. 4 large eggs. I had put a bottle of wine in my fridge, but it doesn't really fit standing up, and so I had put so I had laid it down and then put it on top of the egg carton so it wouldn't roll. And I had tightened the lid really tight on there, and I kind of half expected it to leak. Well, I should have wholeheartedly expected it to leak, because now I've got wine all over my fridge. One, two, three. That was only 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Close enough to a cup. Stir in flour and baking powder. How much baking powder? 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That I always do. Make sure that I measure out. I used to work at a country club. And when I worked there, that I always do measure out. I used to work at a country club, and while I worked there, there wasn't actually a chef above me. I just had a kitchen manager. Because I was a waitress, and then I transferred. When I was a waitress, we had a chef. When I was a cook in the kitchen at the country club, there was no chef. We had a kitchen manager. But then we had a chef that eventually worked underneath our kitchen manager, and I worked with him every day. Well, he's a pastry chef, I believe. Anyway, and my brother worked with us too, and he would always be interested in making like new concoctions and stuff like that, and he would talk to Dan, was his name, I believe, and they would sit there and talk about different things, and I would sit there and listen, and the dangers of baking powder and baking soda. Teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. Okay. So vanilla, kind of. It's imitation vanilla flavoring. And it's how much? 1 teaspoon. So it doesn't say like until well blended. It doesn't say until, oh crap, I meant to put those Butterfingers in there while they're, oh well. It doesn't transfer batter. It doesn't stir in. It just says stir in eggs one at a time, stirring after each addition. And it says stir in flour and baking powder, and stir in vanilla. Transfer the batter into the prepared pan and bake for 45 to 60 minutes or until set around the edges but soft towards the middle. Okay, but it doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me how much I need to be mixing it. Like if all the lumps need to be gone. I don't want to over mix the crap. The one time I actually read the instructions and they don't over explain. Of course that would be the case. Ooh, this looks so good. I said 30 minutes. It says at prep time 15 minutes. Whatever. Oven mist an 8. And mist an 8 by 8 inch or 9 by 13. Oh, whatever. Oh, non-stick spray pan. Non-stick spray lined with parchment paper. I don't know. I don't understand like the pan itself, and then as well as the parchment paper. I guess I don't know. I don't know. I hope this fits in this pan. It's an awfully small pan. It doesn't rise too much. Well, I don't know. Brownies don't usually rise a lot, right? Well, I can tell you one thing. It's not going to be the most square brownies in the world. It's okay. I think it's okay. It's janky looking. I wouldn't sell these brownies. So here we go. Put them in the Okay, and I'm going to set a timer for an hour. I was going to say 50 minutes, but an hour. No. For 50 minutes. I was right the first time. For 50 minutes. And then I will see you then. Okay. So I waited the 50 minutes and let it cook. And it still wasn't cooked all the way. I'm thinking because it's so thick. So I put it in there for another 20 minutes. And when I took it out, I wiggled it some. Or I wiggled it a lot. And it didn't jiggle in the middle like it did for the first time. And so I went ahead and took it out. Let it rest a little bit in the pan. And then I pulled it out using the paper. This is actually on a little stand, cooling stand. And it looks good. It's a little bit deformed. Hang on, I'll show you the best part. Oh well, it's okay. They'll still taste good. It's been probably about an hour since I took it out. Ooh, and it's ooey gooey. It's still kind of warm. I don't know if you can see it or not. Well, right here is some Butterfinger. Good stuff. Need some peanut butter. Alright, so those are my brownies. Thank you so much for joining me.